Hey everyone, we have an amazing episode today. I'm super excited to bring on our guest as episode 4. Shay, you want to tell them a little bit about who's coming on our show today?
Yeah, we've got Dionna Widder, CRO, Chief Revenue Officer of the Houston Dynamo. She is an amazing, amazing, dynamic woman who is a go-getter, and her foot has been on the gas since she's been a teen. So I'm really excited to hear what she has for us, T.
Me too. I agree. She worked across multiple different sports, and she has a great love story to tell, which I think will set some hearts on fire. So I'm really excited to have her with us today.
Me too. I'm excited to have someone who's worked in the league office, the team side, and the NFL, and now in soccer. So I'm sure she has a wealth of knowledge for everyone listening and anybody who's trying to enter the sports world.
Absolutely. So make sure you guys check us out, episode 4, and follow Tipping the Scales wherever you get your podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome back.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back. Man, what's up, T? Basketball season, NBA season. Super exciting.
Very excited. Can't even
excited?
Myself.
Are you going to go see Mikhail?
Wednesday night. I'm at that game. Flying out tomorrow, 6:20 a.m. out of Philadelphia. Ready to go.
Opening night. Wow. So exciting. I remember when we were working those games. Anyway.
Mild little pause.
I know, my little pause.
Yeah.
But we have a special guest today. T, do you want to introduce?
Yes, Dionna. We are so excited to have you here.
It is an honor to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes, Chief Revenue Officer. Sounds so fancy.
I know.
Yeah, it feels extra fancy, doesn't it?
But I can't wait for you to break it down for everybody, because we all know that fancy titles come with a lot of responsibility, a lot of nuance. And so it's going to be exciting just to unpack that today.
Absolutely.
Look forward to it.
You want to kick off and just tell us a little bit about who Dionna is? Who are you?
Oh, that's a great question. How far back do we want to go, ladies?
Wherever you want to go.
We got time. This is what we do. So
your moment.
Yeah. No, actually, my story really starts back like in the day. So I'm from Flint, Michigan. I was raised by a single mother, and one of the best things my mom ever did for me was let me play sports at a young age, because being a part of a team really filled a gap of belonging that I felt at that stage of my life. And becoming an athlete gave me purpose, and how I felt about being an athlete is how I wanted to feel for the rest of my life. And so really that was where the seed was planted. When I was 14 years old, I had this like life-defining experience through a friend of my mom's. She had asked a friend of a friend to hook me up for my 14th birthday. So me and my best friend got our first time ever sitting courtside at a Detroit Pistons game.
Oh my goodness.
Big birthday. Awesome.
Huge birthday. I mean, it's crazy. And so, so we're sitting there at courtside, and I mean, of course, the energy, as you guys know, being in an arena, it really fills you. And I was just so inspired, and I'm looking around, and there's all these people walking around in suits, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell those people do, but I'm going to do that.
This looks so fancy when you see everyone like in game mode, pre-game. It's crazy.
Yeah.
They looked cool. They looked fly. They looked like they had money. And I don't know. I just, to me too, I just kind of had this correlation. Like, it's those people that make all this happen. And it's like, I want to make this happen. I want people to feel how I feel right now in this moment. And
love that.
So that was sort of like the seed that was planted. And I was like, all right, so I got to go to college, right? I mean, I don't know what I have to do. So no one in my family had gone to college. It was never even talked about in my household or anywhere in my family. And so, so that was big. And so I thought my only path and ticket to college was going to be through sports. And so I played basketball.
Awesome.
We were the worst basketball team in the world. So I had no hope. I had no hope there. And I played soccer as well. And I was a pretty decent soccer player, and our team was pretty good as well. So I did have opportunities to play soccer in college, Division II, small schools in Michigan. But ultimately I had, thanks to sports, it really inspired me and motivated me to be good on the academic side, because you had to have good grades, obviously, to play. So luckily for me, the academics actually outweighed my sports talent, let's say.
Yeah.
And I was offered an opportunity to go to Central Michigan University, It's a MAC conference school, Division I school, on a multicultural advancement scholarship. So
awesome.
Very, very good opportunity for me to get into college and finally put myself in that path to hopefully be a person in a suit at a game, right? So it was a nice path there. So I knew going into that I wanted to be a part of that. So my freshman year, the first thing I did was go into the Detroit Pistons website, and I looked up job opportunities, and they happened to have a job fair. You know, like every team has a job fair.
Mm-hmm.
And, so I went out to the job fair, and I just was that annoying freshman at this event going, okay, I know you can't hire me. I'm not at the stage of hiring, but I want to know, what are the jobs? What do you look for? What is the path? And I want to be the person that, you know, when I'm a junior, you'll hire as an intern, and then a senior, you know, get hired as a job. And I went back to that career fair every year, and they gave me great advice. I put me on path on the right degree. And my senior year of college, I was invited to an MBA career fair. So the MBA used to host this career fair, like really recruiting kids out of college. It was invitation only. It was in partnership with Teamwork Online.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you guys know about it?
We do.
Yeah, we used to do those. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was there. I was there in 05.
05?
Okay. I graduated in 06. Maybe it was in 06.
So I want to ask you, so what did you study in college? What did you end up studying?
Yeah, I studied marketing and advertising, but I knew I was going into sales. And I think the feedback I got when I was going to those career fairs and asking through those networking conversations, I was like, okay, if I'm going to go into sales, like, well, really, sales is your personality showing through. Marketing, advertising is like the science behind a sale. So if you understand how consumers think, how to communicate to consumers, and then you put that forth with your personal touch, you'll be really successful with that. And so I took that advice. I wish I remembered who I talked to. I feel terrible. I can't.
Well, you know, I was going to ask you, it sounds like you were very proactive. You kind of knew early on that you wanted to work in sports and really started to do the homework to figure out what you needed to do to prepare yourself for a job. Just curious, did you have any mentors along the way? Anyone that helped you kind of pave that path for you to get to where you are today?
I've had tons of mentors and supporters, you know, throughout my path. I would say leading up to college, I didn't have very many. I didn't have very many role models or individuals that I could look up to or ask questions for. So I felt like I was navigating blind there for a while. I was just navigating and asking the right questions through the curiosities that I had. But once I got in, that career fair was a huge opportunity for me because I met a number of incredible people at that career fair. I actually walked away with 6 job offers from that.
Excuse me, Miss D.
Yeah. It's crazy. It was crazy.
That's awesome.
And I think the greatest opportunity there was like I was able to meet a number of phenomenal leaders and really grow a network right from the very beginning, which I think has been a big proponent of where I'm at today, just knowing these individuals and staying connected with them. And so my first role with the Indiana Pacers, I really chose it because of the leaders. I felt very connected with them. I didn't feel like they looked at me as some like kid out of college. I think they actually saw the passion I had and that I was going to put that forth in my work. And they really continued to fuel it. So I had great leaders. And I would say every leader I've chosen, each path and each place I've gone has really been decided based on that leader because I needed them and wanted them to be a mentor. And I wanted to make sure that there was somebody that was going to be investing in me and my growth as well. So it is definitely a give and take. So to name some names, if that's what you're looking for, Jake Vernon and Doug Dawson and Ben Milsom at the Pacers were phenomenal. I had Chris Granger and Amy Brooks at the NBA League office.
Shout out to Amy. Amy has helped so many different people. Amazing. We love you, Amy.
Yes. She was so real. And I think that was the biggest thing. It's like, I think.
And she's a boss, right?
She's a boss. Yeah. She's a mom. She's a boss. She's a baller too, from her days at Stanford.
Absolutely.
And it's amazing. I had a phenomenal leader at the Cleveland Cavaliers with Brad Sims. He was a CRO when I was a VP of ticket sales. He recruited me. And that was the first job I had where I didn't feel like I had to prove myself. Like he actually brought me in because he believed in me. Yeah. He was like, I'm going to mold you. So that was a nice turning point as well in having a leader in that way.
Okay. So I want to drop a pin in that, the molding part, but I kind of want to go back just to give our listeners a little bit more about who you are. So you went into sales, you know, and you knew what major you wanted to do. You went to this career fair, but like, how did you know that your personality fit sales? Like, because you have to have a certain type of personality in order to sell. And sometimes it's not even about selling. Sometimes it's just about making a connection, a human connection, right? So like
that energy, yeah.
Right. So go back to like your teenage years and kind of like, so our listeners can recognize in them, you know, which way they want to go. Like, what was it in you when you were younger that made you feel like you could sell anything and make it feel like it wasn't sales?
No, that's a really good question. I think from a personality perspective, rooting back, like I think growing up in the single, you know, mother household, my father left when I was 10. And so I had to grow up really, really fast. And I was like an adult, and my mom was young. And so she had her friend life and everything else. And so me and my sister were always put in these situations where we were the only kids in the room. And so we could conversate with adults. They talked to us like we were them. So I felt very comfortable in a lot of different settings. Yeah. My mom also, this is kind of funny, but my mom, I don't know, maybe because she was a young mom or something, but like we were her like showcase, you know? So we'd go somewhere. She taught me this is a, I've never told this story, but my mom taught me how to do like the moonwalk when I was like 7.
Okay, you might have to get up and do something for her.
I mean, I'm not joking. I was the kid that was doing the moonwalk, the running man. So we would go somewhere and she'd be like, dance, do this, you know, show off, you know. And so I knew how to like be in the spotlight.
Yeah, turn it on.
And you know what I mean? I could turn it on, I could turn it off. I've never connected those dots until you just asked me that question, but I've never been in a situation where I felt fear of being like in a conversation with somebody or in the spotlight. There's talent somewhere. You can just, you know, go there. So I think it's just been a seeded thing from all those days, playing sports, being the star, like, you know, trying to be the star. At least I can't say I'm the star, but like, you know, I was never afraid to like, I wanted to be the one that had.
You're a go-getter. You're a go-getter.
Yeah. Like I'm always going after it. So I think there's a sense of that.
Deonna, I was going to say, I was going to say one of the things we used to, just to tease you a little bit when we worked at the Sixers, when someone would say they had this talent or they had to do something, the whole room would shout at our staff meetings, prove it, prove it, prove it. So you might have to prove it that you could do
it. Prove it.
Exactly. But listen, I think, you know, both Shay and I can relate, and you too, you as well, Deonna, that when you were sitting at that game, you were like, oh, wow, you were so enamored by the things that you saw on the court behind the scenes. So sports is sexy. Sports, everyone wants to work in sports,
right?
Because of the brand. And like I said, it's a sexy and it kind of draws you and you feel that energy. But behind the scenes, I think what sometimes people don't know, it's a grind and you need grit. And it's a hard ass job.
Right.
So talk to us a little bit about, because it sounds like, you know, you found your passion, you knew what you wanted to do, you started to make that preparation, but talk about, because people need to know and our listeners need to know, when you want something, you got to go after it. And even when you do it, it's an upward battle just to try to get there. I mean, you've got to a C-suite position, and we'll talk about that in a moment, but just share about the challenges that you had and how you were able to overcome them.
Yeah, I mean, you're so right. I mean, yes, this job it's sexy. It's a sexy industry to be in. And I think that's why a lot of people don't succeed, because you come in think it's going to be glamorous and you're going to be at the games. And then but then you realize like it is nonstop. And if you want to be successful, this has to become a lifestyle for you. Absolutely. You have to live and breathe and consistently think about, especially in the revenue side, how to generate revenue, drive tickets, partnerships. And it is nonstop. It has to become who you are. And I think that that's not for everyone. And for me personally, I think what happens is you got to fall in love with the work. It has to be something that you absolutely love. I love what I do. There's not a day where I feel like I'm working. It's like, this is my purpose. And every day I'm looking to deliver on the goals and the vision and the purpose of our club. And our league. I mean, I think that's another piece too. It's like the impact we have as a team and what that does for the greater good of the league or the sport. And then double that down. Like, why I got into this is because I want to be a difference maker. I truly believe that the platform of sports has a way and has the power of a platform to make a difference in so many different ways. So that's right there, that knowing that if I sell this one extra ticket or I help close this business, the impact that has on the club to then give back to the purposes of the vision that we have in ways that some people don't even realize. It's happening sometimes very, very front and center. And sometimes it's happening behind the scenes. And awesome. It's amazing. It's an amazing feeling to wake up every day knowing that you're a part of something that's that impactful in society in general.
Wow. So I don't know if we mentioned this in the beginning, but you're Chief Revenue Officer for the Houston Dynamo and Dash, right? Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about the clubs and how different it is from basketball? You were at the league office, you worked on the team side, and now you're with soccer, and so what are the differences between, and like, do you ever see the sports crossing over, like where they're helping one another? I feel like soccer doesn't really promote basketball doesn't promote soccer, but like, just talk. I just want to have some candid conversation about that. So.
There's I think the skills of the job, I think all of it sort of translates. I don't think that changes much. And based on my experiences, to your point, I worked in the NBA, the NFL. I've done work in the WNBA, league office. The league team thing, that's definitely a difference, because at a team, I didn't, you're part of a team and their success. And there's very specific aspects of that. When I was at Teambo, at the league office, you're consulting all the teams. And so the biggest thing there is you're not really, for me, in my role, I was a director of team marketing business operations. So we served as like an account manager and had the direct relationship between a team and the league, and then helping them with best practices, helping them drive their business with best practices and different benefits and assets that would help them sort of move their needles. And the challenging thing there that I would say is the difference I found challenging is that because I'm a leader and I'm an executor, I missed leading people. So at the Indiana Pacers, I had a team of people I was leading towards specific goals, and we were executing, and we could see that through. Right. When I got to the league office, I'm no longer leading people, and I could go in and I could share best practices. I can help you build the plan, but then I have to walk away and it's on you. And then I'd have to come back and hope that you did or implemented something. If you didn't, we'd have to keep hitting that same mark over and over again. For me, like all I want to do is grab it and run with it. I want to run it to the finish line and see it succeed. And that for me was really, really hard at the league office. That was the difference. But I will say from the league perspective, the biggest benefit for me, and one of the things that really attracted me to go to the league office, was I wanted to like step back and really learn the business. And that was the greatest benefit. I felt like I walked away with a PhD. You got to see the good and the great of every organization, what truly is the difference of why the successful teams are successful.
So awesome.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to take all this information and I'm going to put this back to a team. And I want to apply it. And it's going to feel so rewarding. And that's exactly what I got to do with the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I mean, you're so inspiring, and I feel like I can just feel that energy right through. Is
it because I talk with my hands?
And you just resonate. That hit me. That just hit me right now. It was like, yes.
But I'm just curious too, because just working in sports, how much it takes so much of your time, and you're working in long hours, you're working nights, and people don't understand, like you're doing your, let's call it your day job, let's call it 9 to 5, 9 to 6, 9 to whatever, 9 to never. 9
to never.
9 to never. You like that?
9 to never. Yes.
But you're still working games, and you have meetings, and you have to travel. And how do you balance it all? How do you keep yourself together to be able to hold these pieces to have that success that you've had right now?
Well, I will add in beyond just, the role and responsibilities of work. I'm also a mother and a wife, so I have 3 children. I have
awesome.
Yeah. So I have, my twins are 8.5. I have 8.5
twins.
Oh my gosh. Twins.
Shout them out right now. Twins, and shout yourself out. Okay.
Wow.
And then we have a little girl that's 4 years old as well. So I have boy-girl twins, and then a 4-year-old. And that's another element. So honestly, we talk.
Wait, so 3 girls?
No, boy and 2 girls.
Okay, I was going to say your poor husband. There's a lot going on there.
So I mean, ultimately, in terms of balancing, I don't believe in balance. I believe in like commitment,
harmony.
I just believe commitment to like what the
I love that.
Is. It's about commitment for me. My commitment is to be the best mother, to be, and bring my best every day, strive for greatness in this role. And I think that that's what I'm dedicated to. Is it a little crazy? Yeah, but I like thriving crazy. And I think that's the biggest thing is like, what's your capacities? And I think you need to understand your capacities and then fill those cups to the capacities of each one that need to fulfill you and make you feel centered and whole.
I love that.
So it's really about understanding those levels, and you gotta just keep filling those cups. And I feel like that balance is good for me. And I think it's different for everybody else. And I think the hardest thing in this industry, and I think across anybody, especially women, like the balance question, you're not asking men balance questions, right? There's this assumption that he has this whole like system that helps him be who he is and have a family. I do too. My husband has dedicated to our lifestyle as well. We're in partnership in this life that we're building together. And so he had to sacrifice his career for this path. And so my husband stays home with our children. And so that's how we make it work. That might not work for somebody else,
I love that.
I know.
And I love that word capacity, right? Because it's flexible for everyone. Your capacity to fill up this cup, your capacity, and to also get what you need in order to have the capacity to do. I love that.
Yeah. So we don't talk about it enough.
We don't. We
absolutely don't. Yeah.
It needs to be a new word in our universe, right?
Okay.
Capacity.
Well, we're gonna put it out there now. Capacity,
and
we're gonna unpack.
You guys feel it. Make sure you take it in and write it down.
And it's crazy because I was listening to Tashana. That's her name. She wrote a book. I forget what the book is called. But she said that her mother. So it was about her relationship with her mother, and it wasn't a great relationship. But she said, my mother didn't have the capacity to love me the way I wanted to. And when she said that, it's like you automatically knew that it wasn't her fault. She just didn't have the capacity. So when you said that, the word capacity is starting to mean so much more to me. So I'm so happy that you use that right now. But you are an accomplished woman in your own right. Like you've literally worked in the NFL, you've worked in the NBA on the team side and also on the Teambo side. So this show, we want to help people understand how to maneuver and transition. Like you said, like Tania always says, it's not about balance, like you said, but it's to find the harmony. How do you know when it's time to leave and take those next steps? Or how do you transition from those different jobs to get to be a CRO at, on the team side? Like how do you do that? How do you know when to leave? How do you know when to transition? Is it the culture? Is it the position? How do you know? Like what is it about the position that makes it attractive? Or you want to get out and you want to scream and pull your hair out. So
I think I've experienced all of those scenarios.
Yes. We have too.
Lots of ups and downs. Yeah.
We'll talk after this one.
Okay.
I think so. From the very beginning, this is one of the advices I give to people. So knowing who you are and who you want to be is one of the greatest assets you can have. It starts with that. So me knowing who I want to be, it's no secret. At some point in my career, I defined, you know what, like I can be a team president. That's where I'm headed. That's where my pin is. And so what will it take for me to invest in my career, in my growth, in these moves to help me become the person that is capable of leading a club or a team at the highest level? And so that is the goal. And so since I set that, knowing who I want to be, staying true to who I am in the process as being my authentic self, then going into that process. So it starts off with one place. I'm there and I'm investing in my growth. I'm applying myself to the job and I'm hitting my marks. I strive to graduate from the role. I want to get to the point where the role feels like I am now in routine, I'm on autopilot, I'm not being challenged anymore. And I've already started to put myself in a position to learn the aspects of the next position that I have sort of had my eye on and developing. So I'm developing into the next role and doing the job itself at the best of my ability to accomplish that graduation point. So when I hit that point, that's when I start to have those more serious conversations with my leaders. I mean, they are my mentors too. And that's when you went back to that question. If you have a leader that's not a mentor, having developmental questions about your next steps is going to be harder. They're going to talk about how much they need you in that role. But if you set from the very beginning what your goals are in the end and where you see yourself, and they're going to be invested in that, then that transition, that conversation is going to be that much more easier, and it's going to be accepted, and it's going to be out there. It's going to be there in your environment, in the relationship you have with your mentor or your leader. So that has been very strategic for me throughout my entire path. So I graduate from a role. There's been times where I wanted to grow there at that team. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, that role was not either available to me. It wasn't open. They saw somebody else in that role because maybe where I was and where they were not aligned.
Talk about it.
Which happens all the time.
Yes.
You don't see me in that role.
Absolutely.
That's okay. I see myself in that role, and I will align myself with the right leader who sees me as a potential.
Pause on that.
I know.
Pause on that. Take that in. If you're listening, pause on that. Okay, keep going. I just wanted to drop a pin there. Yeah.
No, that's good. And another thing is from an approach perspective, taking back what I said at the very beginning, that how I felt about being an athlete is how I wanted to feel for the rest of my life. Since day one, I have been an athlete of this industry. So I take this analogy and I tell this analogy to a lot of our inside sales classes that come in. I said, what's the best thing about sales is that you, like an athlete, you can come in as a freshman, and based on talent, you can be moved up to varsity. And if you're really talented, you can run this team as a captain. And so how do you apply those skills and that talent and the things that you do to excel as an athlete? How do you apply those same things to excel into your job? And that's the thing with sales, as you guys know, it's like, who's at the top of the board? Nobody, it's not based on what you look like, where you come from. It's like, who's willing to work harder, understand what it takes to close business, and then apply that so you're at the top of the board.
Absolutely.
So that has been a little bit of the secret sauce too. It's how do I make sure that I'm at the top of my game all the time, so that when those opportunities are presented and you say my name, hopefully people are like, she has it. She does that. She can do that. She has the talent and skills to lead the team or to be the captain or the coach, whatever scenario you want to use. But it's about applying that talent. But you got to step into it. You got to step into it too.
Absolutely. I feel like you're dropping so many special gems today.
So good. So good.
Seriously. But one of the things that you said in terms of leadership, and Shay knows I've been talking about this for weeks now, because it's something that I'm so passionate about, because oftentimes it's really hard to find a great leader. And you said something that I thought meant a lot in terms of mentorship, like that's your role as a leader. But I'm just curious to get from your perspective, because we're going to have an upcoming episode around leadership matters. But what does leadership mean to you? And how do you show up as a leader? And what do you think are the responsibilities as leaders? Because many talk about being a leader, and I think that a good portion of leaders are failing and not hitting the mark, because they think that just because they manage people that they're being leaders, and they're not stepping up and showing up to carry that responsibility that comes along with that title.
Yeah, I mean, leadership to me, it's not about a title, right? It's about an opportunity that you have to truly influence and make a difference in other people's lives, but also on the success of a business. And so those two things really go hand in hand, because I mean, at the end of the day, people drive culture and culture drives business. And so as a leader, you have to invest in your people and understand what inspires them, what motivates them. How can I help you succeed in your goals? Because if I do that, that reinvestment is going to continue to then drive the success of our business. That's one thing I actually look for in a leader, is that if somebody I feel, and I don't know how much feeling, gut feeling is a component of this whole process, right? If you feel that somebody is playing the role of the title, that's a flag for me. That is a red flag. I'm looking for authentic people who are here and are like, what is it that they're telling you? Are they telling you that they're here and want to learn more about you and get to know you and understand what your drivers are? And my big thing too, it's like, if somebody's starting to go down a path or not showing signs of success, the question isn't why aren't you hitting your numbers? The question is, how you doing? Like, what's going on? Like, this is uncharacteristic for you to show up every day with this sort of different vibe about you. Let's talk about it. and let's get to the bottom of what's happening with you, so I can support you in those, in whatever situation you're in, because right now you're not bringing your best self to work. And if you don't bring yourself best self to work every day, then, we truly believe that iron sharpens iron, and you're going to affect the person next to you. So how can I help you?
100%. Absolutely.
So it's about caring. It's about caring. It really is. It's about caring.
It really is.
And that's what's missing, though. I feel like that's what's missing with so many leaders, is that they're not showing that they care about the whole person. Yeah. You come to work, you show up with everything that you're trying to figure out in your life. You come to work with that. And when you don't show a sense of care, and I also heard you say being authentic, so that authenticity, I mean, all those things, I feel like are our responsibilities as leaders in terms of how we treat our people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you got to step back too and think about the environment that leader's in. And sometimes that can have a huge impact. Maybe that leader's a really good person, but they're in an environment that requires them to sort of micromanage and be focused on the numbers and the business and not on their people. Yeah. And so that's the other part of it. You can't just look for great leaders. The culture is probably as important or more important than the leader. Because
you're making Shay dance back there.
You like the sound of that? Yeah, it's true. It is true.
Very true.
It's very true. So in that, culture matters. And this is what I tell young people, because I work at Overtime and I came from the 76ers to Overtime. And the reason I left the 76ers is because I saw the culture that Overtime exuded when I interacted with the company at the time. And so when I first got the job, I hosted the Christmas party. And the first thing I said when I got on stage to all these like young, like 20, 21, 22, I was like, ooh, this is your first job? You don't even know. So I basically said, you guys, if this is your first job, pay attention to the culture that you're experiencing right now, because it's not like that everywhere else. Mm-hmm. It took me several tries to get the culture that I chased. I chased Overtime to get the job. I sold them my services and said, I can do this for you. I want to be a part of your culture. And I think that is what we have to tell people. It's like, it's not about the job. Because if you have a great culture and great leadership, like we're alluding to, you can climb the ladder, or you can just do more. You can be more impactful in the space that you're trying to, just make a name for yourself. And I also want to talk about just how we talk about good leadership, but how are you a good follower? What does a good follower look like? Like, what do you look for, when you're hiring someone? I know that, I've been in service all my life, so I feel like I can kind of put a gauge on it, but I also know that a lot of people aren't like that, in terms of serving. Some people are like, I just want to get in, do the job and get out. So like, what do you, this is for you too, Tania. I mean, you're a CHRO. So like, those people listening, like those young people listening, how are you a good follower in a company when you have a good leader? Like, what is a role of someone, and what do you look for when you hire someone, like for both of you?
Honestly, I don't look for somebody who's going to follow me. I think what I'm looking for is a great collaborator. And I want somebody who might know something more than I do. Like, they might be an expert in an area that I'm not an expert in. I'm not afraid of that. Like, I'm not intimidated by somebody who might have more skills than me in a certain area. In fact, when I moved into the CRO role here at the Dynamo, I came up the path of ticket sales. I mean, obviously we've been talking about ticket sales a lot, but as a chief revenue officer, I also oversee the strategy and execution of our corporate partnership sales and marketing efforts, which is a very significant portion of the revenue that we generate as a club.
Yeah.
I had never sold a partnership in my life. It's not my area of expertise. My expertise is leadership and building great cultures, right? And so when I had the role open for VP of partnerships. And so I had to go out and recruit somebody for that role. And I can only imagine, some people are probably looking for somebody they're going to grow with or learn from. And for me, I was very specific. I'm looking for somebody who has done the role, who's ready for the next level, is not there yet, and who wants to be a collaborator with me. And who wants to really succeed with me and be on this journey with me to not only learn the aspects of partnerships, but also understand how he or she is going to invest, into the culture and environment that we're trying to create as a club. So that was that process. I look for strong collaborators and executors. So that's a big one.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I agree too on collaboration. I think oftentimes, especially when you have teams that are not meeting their expectations or their goals, is because they lack collaboration. So one of the things that we recently did with our senior executive team is I had them read The Ideal Team Player so they can understand the importance of how they're supposed to show up and how our goal is to support one another in order for us to reach our success. So I think that's missing. And for my team, same thing. I try to hire people with skills that I just do not have because it's going to make my team even stronger. So I know that I'm not the most creative belle in the room. So I try to hire some really strong creative folks to work on our team and highly technical people. So I try to get a well-rounded team to really bring different skill sets that we may not have, because that just makes my team much stronger.
I love that.
Yeah. What do you like to do for fun? I always like to peel back the eye to see.
I like that, T.
We know who you are as a stroke. Sounds, you've already said, and you're a boss too, right? And you're a mom, and you're a strong businesswoman. But who are you outside of work? Like, what do you like to do for fun?
Yeah.
It's a chill day for you.
for
if you
fun.
have one.
For fun. Truly, I think my fun is with my kids, and I think that's where it really turns on in terms of my, I wish I could say that I had all this additional time to do all these amazing things. But I wasn't, for me, I've been so dedicated to becoming who I wanted to become. Even when I was a kid, I was a pretty serious kid too. I mean, I was really serious. And I was still fun, I was definitely fun. I as an athlete, that helps, with your social skills. But in general, my fun is with my children. We are always having a good time. In fact, yesterday, my husband and I went on our first date in like a month.
Nice.
We went to the King. Yeah. My husband.
What's his name?
My husband's Mark.
Hey, Mark. Shout out to you, Mark.
Yeah. So we went to the Keen Brown concert last night. He's a country artist that my husband absolutely loves. And so we were able to go to our first post-COVID concert last night.
I'm a country listener too.
Yeah. So Keen Brown's good. And then with my kids, there's never a dull moment. If I'm home, like this morning, I was playing Sega and, Xbox with my son.
Okay.
Yeah. So we had the old school Sega that has all the games programmed.
Oh my God.
I haven't seen a Sega in so long.
You can buy them now, with all the games already loaded. It's pretty awesome. So my son loves video games, and so we'll play video games. And my younger daughter this morning, the twin, my almost 9-year-old, she wanted to learn how to braid hair. So we went through a whole lesson of braiding, which was fun. And then the 4-year-old wanted to swim. So this morning I played video games. I taught my daughter how to braid. And then for an hour and a half, they were at the pool. And then we have a pool in our backyard. So then I came in, showered, got in the traffic jam that I got into. So though I should be, because of the traffic jam I was in to get to work today, knowing the fun I had this morning really helps sort of ease all that.
That's so great. Funny. Are any of your kids into TikTok, or are they on their tablets, or what is your tech policy at home?
I have no tech policy. You do what you need to do.
Hey, you're a fun mom.
Same here.
I am not you can have whatever you want. We have TVs in all the rooms.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's fun.
Stay engaged. Yeah.
I love that.
So I think we have a lot of people who want to get into sports. Like, I think back to those teamwork online days. I used to work in HR when I worked in sports, and there's always so many applicants. And it's like, you don't have to go out and really find people to work in sports. They will find you, they will sort you out. But so what is your advice to people who want to get into sports? Like, because you took a different path in terms of just being strategic and ensuring that you were hitting each of your goals to get to where you are today. But what is your advice to people who really want to get into sports and maybe they don't want to be in sales? Because I do think that is the general path that people take to get into sports. What if you don't want sales? What else? What do you do?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, obviously, as you guys know, like most people who come into sports, is they want to work in sports because they love sports. There's some sort of connection to sports, no different than myself. But I think the biggest thing is don't lead with the sport component. You have to be able to tell people what your why is. Right. Why do you want to work in sports? How will you contribute to any area, regardless of what it could be social media, it could be CR, it could be HR, it could be accounting. Why do you want to work in that discipline or vertical at a team, or a league, or overtime, just any industry specific, like why? And if you got to know that why, and you have to be able to express it and share it in a way that helps hopefully connect that individual who's hiring with your why, and they want to be invested in making sure that they help you accomplish that. If you come to me and say, hey, I want to, work for the Dynamo because I played soccer for 4 years, and you stop, I'm like, I'm going to ask you for more, because that's not enough.
Yeah.
Because if you do that, as we already alluded to in the beginning of the conversation, you're going to come in, we're going to try to train you and teach you the aspects of any portion of the job, and you're going to burn out. You're going to be disappointed that it wasn't as sexy as you thought it would be. You thought it was going to be fun, and there are fun aspects, but it's work, and you got to really lean into.
It's a grind. It's a hustle for sure.
Yes.
Some folks are enamored by the players. I'm sure that both will resonate with the two of you, that they want to be around the players, and sometimes depending on what your role is, you may not have access.
You might not ever see the player. Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, sometimes they don't even want to see us, so they might run
from
here.
They're like, oh no, they're going to ask me for another thing. It's like they're running the other direction. But
right.
Exactly.
Yeah. But,
well, okay. So for me, T, calls me the love doctor. And we've had an ongoing discussion about love and relationship. And so I guess since we're wrapping up here, just like as a successful woman, like you have a husband, you have kids, what is your advice for women, dating? Like, did you make time for your husband when you met him? Like, how did you do it? And like, how did you, how do you see it now? Like, how do you revamp and like just make sure you're doing your wifely duties and your motherly duties? So a lot of women listen to our show. If you're a successful person, I would love for you to, just give some advice in that area.
Yeah, this is probably the worst area for me. So,
but me too. That's why it's important. That's why it's important, right? We have to have the dialogue.
No, this is great. This is great. So, so my husband and I met in high school.
Okay.
So we're high school sweethearts.
Love that.
Yeah. So I was a junior and he was a senior when we started dating. Mm-hmm. And I think the biggest thing that was funny about our relationship was that we were friends first, of course. And, I think the biggest thing, he was a senior graduating. And then, so it's like, I never wanted to be like the girlfriend that took him away from his friends. And so he was very dedicated to his friends and like enjoying his senior year. Then I was a senior the next year and he was a freshman. So he needs to enjoy freshman year of college and I needed to enjoy my senior year. So when we were together, like when we would like hang out like on the weekends or what have not, it was cool, but we never sacrificed anything on the French side, the athlete, like the other dedications for each other. And we never made decisions about the future of our life on each other because you're kids, right? So, so he went to University of Michigan. And then so we'd been dating 2 years when I went to Central. I was like hour and a half, 2 hours away. Okay. So I wasn't going to pick my school or, based on him. And we stayed together. We did the long distance thing all throughout college. And then he changed his major. And so he actually had to go to school a year longer. And I graduated in 4 years because I had to graduate in 4 years because that was my goal. As you guys already know that I hit my goal.
On it.
Yes, absolutely.
I killed myself to hit my goal to graduate in 4 years. But I graduated and then I got the job in Indiana. And I was like, okay, so I'm moving to Indiana, so I moved to Indiana and he was in Michigan and he graduated. And I think what was interesting is that we never talked about marriage. We never talked about like the future. We just, knew that we were committed to each other and it worked for us. We didn't need each other all the time.
I love it.
Which was really helpful. So it was really unique. I think for most people to see it come together, but he actually moved to Indiana and took his first job. He signed a contract. My husband's he has a bachelor's in nursing, so he's an RN. So really good guy to have at your house when your kids are hurt, to have a nurse around.
Oh, yes.
So he was an RN, and so he signed a contract with a hospital system in Indiana. We lived together for a year. He then proposed to me. It was like April. In June, I took a job with the Detroit Lions. I left him.
I love you.
I got my ring, and I left him in Indiana, and I took the job at Detroit. And he had to stay. He had to stay in Indiana because he had signed this contract to stay for the rest of the calendar year. And so we knew that we were going to get married that fall, and then he would move to Detroit. We were just going to be apart during most of our engagement. Crazy enough is that when I went to the Lions, I was only there for about 6 months, and the Pacers had an opening for the director of group sales after I left. I was only gone for 6 months. So they brought me back. So I got to move back to Indiana before he could ever move to Michigan. So then we moved to Indiana and over there. So it was really, and then we finally get our house. So we got married in, let's see here, 2009. Yeah, we got married. So we got married 2009. So it's pretty crazy. The story gets a little crazier, but
keep going.
Okay.
Keep going. This is great.
We're on this journey now, so
we're
all perked up. We want to know.
Yeah, it's resonating with me too. So I'm the same way right now.
Yeah,
so go ahead.
So he was, as an RN, he worked nights. So he worked 3 nights, and I worked my Pacers schedule, as you guys know, like working games and weekends and the whole thing. So
it doesn't stop.
No, it doesn't stop. So we would be passing strangers, like in the mornings. And then we'd have like these 2 days, depending on my schedule, if he'd come to a game or not. So we didn't see each other all that much. I think but we had just enough, like I could probably only take so much of me, and I'm sure he could only take so much of each other. So it works for us. Right. And so then we had, let's see here, 2012, I take an interview in New York for the NBA league office job. And I fly out to New York. Interview goes great. I feel amazing. Come back. I'm home for a couple of days, and we're sitting there. And I'm like, hey, I think I might have to take a pregnancy test. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I think we might be pregnant. He's like, oh my God. He's like, you just interviewed for this job in New York. Are you crazy? I'm like, I didn't plan this, bro.
I wasn't talking. Like, come on.
It's your fault too, man. Like, and so
we like you, Dionna.
so we take a pregnancy test, we're pregnant, and then I get a call on Friday that I get the job. So I tell the league that I'm pregnant, but I still want to take it. Like, I'm just crazy enough to do this job. It's a travel job, like I this is aligned with what I know.
Your hustle is real. You hear me?
I know I want to do it. It's gonna be travel. And my husband works nights. And so I think if he's off 3, he's on 3, off 4, I'll travel the 4 that he's on 3. And so we can make it work, And so like, hey,
wow.
If you believe in you, we believe in you. We want you to hear. So I was like, I'm taking it. So I take it. I stayed with the Pacers. The Pacers were in the playoffs. And so they needed me to stay because I was the senior director of ticket sales. So I needed to stay to get us to the playoffs. So in that period of time, I think I was there another 4 weeks. And I go to my first doctor's appointment, and that's when they tell us we're having twins. And it was like, wow. Oh my God, are you kidding? Like, I had just bought, I just had I bought a Camaro. Like, I was like on top of
You bought a hot girl car.
I have the wrong car. I have the wrong, now I'm going to be traveling for this job, and I'm going to have twins. Like, what is going on?
That was so God inspiring. Being like, slow yourself down.
Yeah.
But it's so inspiring too.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you got to go with it. Like, you believe in something.
You just go.
No matter what. That's right.
I think that's the other thing. It's like, you got to, there's a sense of like, if you believe it, then you can be confident moving forward. And so belief does come before confidence. And I think that's I believe that I could I believe I could do it all, and we can make it work. And I needed my husband to also feel that same thing. And so I think that's the biggest thing is in that, when you go back to the core of the relationship, like, make sure you find somebody who can believe with you. And
believe before confidence.
Yeah. So if you can believe together, you can create a life together that you both are going to be satisfied. If you're with a man that's only thinking about himself, and he's not going to be invested in your goals, then you're going to be there. Right.
Right.
Uniquely with my husband is, my husband doesn't have these big idea goals, and he's not looking to go be the CEO somewhere. He's a guy who wants to take care of people, cares about me. And I found the right partner to live this life with and to invest with me in this life we're going to build together. And so, are there sacrifices? Is it hard to ask him to move from a city with kids and uproot friends? It's terrible. I feel terrible every time we've had to do it. But I believe when we do it, it's going to be the best thing that ever happens to us, because it's going to help us meet new friends and have new adventures. And every time, we've never regretted a move. There's not been one move we regretted. And I think that builds that continuous confidence into the next move when those moves happen.
Wow. Such a great way to end our episode today.
So I think listeners, you guys are going to have to listen to that last part a couple times because there's a whole lesson in sports, transition, life, love, and everything. And I thank you for that, Dionna. That was amazing.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you for letting me share.
Yes. Thank you for taking time out of your busy life. You are one busy person. So thank you so much for being here with us today. I think you inspired a lot of people. For sure.
You inspired us. So thank you.
Yeah.
We really
thank you for having me. And thank you for what you guys are doing. And thank you for sharing my story. It means a lot. I think representation matters. And the more that we talk and share can really make a difference in somebody else discovering what they're looking for and what they're trying to discover uniquely to themselves as well.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you.